in here. I mean, it was a good match. I'm glad that Trey won, but honestly, I gave this one a C grade also. It was down the middle, if you will.
It's good to see Trey getting a win, especially with how strongly they've been pushing Moose lately. He's not my favorite.
That can only help, for sure. I think that's good. But this is where I was kind of proud of Victory Road. Because we've kind of had a C pay-per-view the whole time, which is, mid-grade. Not bad, just not great. But the last 3 matches all kind of up the ante, I think. So we ended up getting a 4-way match. Now, all 4 of these guys are part of a team that will face off in a 4-way at Bound for Glory for the Tag Team Championships. But on this match, only one member of each team competes. So we had Josh Alexander with his partner Ethan Page, who ended up winning the match. That also had Alex Shelley with his Motor City Machine Gun partner Chris Sabin, Ace Austin with Madman Fulton, and Machine Gun Carl Anderson with the big LG Doc Gallows, of course, the Good Brothers.
God, this sounds like fun without you even telling me any more than they all had managers.
This was super fun, and as you may imagine, it was a damn good match. And it put the focus on the actual tag teams, to be honest. To the point where, at one point, all 8 people got involved, and so about halfway through the match, the ref threw the partners out, which was really fun. I thought that was good. They all showcased themselves well. They all delivered great action. You could tell they were all working to kind of just put each other. There wasn't a single person that looked better or a single person that jobbed. It was all, they were all pretty even. Shelley, I mean, he is still I don't know what age he is, but I've been rooting for him for the last 10 years. He's still pound for pound one of the best wrestlers in the world. It's insane. Machine Gun Carl Anderson brought out some New Japan shit, which really made him look good. This was great stuff. This was the best thing up to this point on the show. I gave it a B+. So the show's picking up. The crescendo is coming, if you will. We have the Knockouts Championship next. Pat Pasty and Deanna Purrazzo, as we expected, beat Susie. Susie is the kind of the subdued Su Yung. And boy, we seen some shades of Su Yung come out every now and then. You could see it in her eye. You could see the way she looked. The confused young woman. She kind of every now and then something hits her, and it's like, oh shit. So it was really fun. This was a storytelling match, and it was a really good match in the ring, but it was a storytelling match. Susie was the underdog, but she did really good. So many times I actually thought she might beat Purrazzo, which surprised me. Great storytelling. But there was a post-match beatdown that was vicious, and it was really great with Purrazzo and Kimberly, who are working together. And I can really see the Undead Bride is coming out of Susie again. And
just in time for Halloween.
Oh, and with Kylie Ray beside her, it's like, I think we're going to see the Undead Bride turn on Kylie Ray possibly and get a feud there, but it's Bound for Glory.
Kylie bleeds. Can Kylie
bleed? Happening. It's happening at Bound for Glory. There's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? Like you said, it's Halloween. It's perfect. And I think we all miss the Undead Bride. We miss Su Yung. Susie's great. I love the Cupid thing. We've all jerked off to Cupid, but what? Just me? Okay. We all miss the Undead Bride.
Depends on the quality of the quarter pound. Did you watch the South Park special?
Oh, so hilarious.
Talk about jerking off on a Cupid.
They literally hit on everything that happened.
In an hour.
In
an hour. I don't even need another South Park this year.
Oh, That was so good. That was so good. Yeah.
So you
I
don't
loved it.
smoke pot, hey?
I know,
Oh.
she's got the mustache.
I'm just going to go make a few more specials.
It was just awesome. She has the mustache. I will say one thing. I was waiting for it and it didn't happen. And I think 10 years ago, Trey and Matt would have pulled the trigger. None of the kids had a mustache.
Yeah.
I was waiting for one of the kids to have a mustache. They didn't pull that trigger. I was surprised. And folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, you have to watch the special. We're not going to ruin it for you.
It's so good.
And speaking of ruining things for people, if you haven't watched it, which Pasty hasn't, I'm going to ruin it for him.
Do it!
But
Ruin
you still
me,
need to go
fat
back
man.
and watch it because it's so awesome. And Eric Young is proving his worth as a champion. Impact World
Never
Championship
thought I'd
match.
hear you say that.
I've always loved Eric Young. He's just never been a main event guy. And you know what? Even after this match, I don't think he's a main event guy. But he did put on a main event match. If that makes sense. Intense, physical, hard-hitting, spectacular psychology. I mean, this was all I ever wanted from a main event.
So what
Eric
we really
Young-
need is EY versus Cody Rhodes.
How about EY versus Kyle O'Reilly?
Fuck yeah. If you listened to our
Eric
show
Young-
last week, you'd be like, why the fuck did Pasty just say that?
I know, right? Eric Young was the ruthless, vile heel. He was very cerebral. And, of course, Eddie Edwards, he gutted through everything. He actually had a legitimate ankle injury going into this. And they sold that through this whole thing. This was very easy to follow story. It was executed to perfection by both the champion and the challenger. They built a story, and they took you along through the whole thing. And my son, who hasn't been following Impact, although was a huge Impact fan from way back in the day, knew everything that was going on. So that was awesome. I could not believe how much Eric Young shined as a star. He shouldn't. By all accounts, he shouldn't, but he did. And I think he's maybe showing WWE a little ha, you know. But this was a fantastic exclamation point at the end of a solid show. It's Victory Road. It's not a main show. It's one of their B pay-per-views, and I think it played like a B pay-per-view. As I mentioned, it was C matches kind of all the way through the first half, and then the last three matches crescendoed up to be A plus. It's just really good, and it really built a lot going into Bound for Glory next month, I thought. With Su Yung and Kylie Ray, you got the tag team match, you got Eric Young. So much is building up to Bound for Glory. I think that's what this was. This was kind of a show to build to Bound for Glory, and I think it did it perfect.
That's good. That's good.
I'm excited for Bound for Glory.
I'm definitely going to go back and check it out sometime in the next week. That brought us to a 4-4 tie, with the tiebreaker being, is the TBD Matt Cardona? The answer was no, and Fat Matt got the point to rub my face in the dirt.
Oh,
and that's got me thinking I need to make a new T-shirt. You know how they got the Fuck Jim Cornette T-shirt, and it's beautiful? Yep. I want to make a Fuck Matt Cardona T-shirt now.
I think we should. I think it would sell. I think Cody Rhodes would be the first one to buy one. He'd be in the front of the line.
I have to assume that since he said he's not signed with AEW and he didn't show it up at Impact, and Cody won the TNT Championship back on Dynamite, that Cardona's going to attack Cody out of nowhere with a chair and possibly crack open the front of his face.
I could see him being the challenger, because didn't Cody do the TNT challenge when he was the champion?
Yep.
Yeah, I could see him being the next challenger and winning it straight up off him. Mm-hmm. Which I don't agree with either, even if I don't want it to be on Cody. I think that also cheapens it, but I don't know.
Yes. Hey, and while we're talking about this week's Dynamite, we gotta say that they had a cameo from New Japan.
Yes, they did. Little Tanahashi action for old
Yes.
Chris Jericho.
Get rid of the VP of American Affairs, and everything seems to be going swimmingly.
You know, I could only support New Japan and AEW working together, honestly.
It is for the best. Like I don't see in any world where it's not for the best, you know.
Well, it helps AEW's global presence and it helps New Japan's American presence, and I mean those two companies have literally some of the best pro wrestlers in the world, and they legitimately have a lot of crossover. They have wrestlers who have been in both, so why not?
Hell yeah.
But basically,
Why not? That's what I said when you told me I had to watch NXT Takeover 31 this weekend.
And you watched it twice. Why not?
I did. Why not? No, why not being the first time I wasn't fully paying attention. By the end of it, I was like, damn, I should have probably watched that like I should watch it. Still that I had to watch it again. But, yeah, NXT TakeOver 31 returns to true form with just the simple 5-match card. And I don't think there was a bad match in the batch. There's going to be matches I'm saying weren't as good, but obviously the main event is the crown jewel here.
Yeah, the lowest grade I gave any match on this card was a B-, and that was the opening match, so hello.
Yeah. Yep. So we kicked off the show with the North American Championship match, seeing Damian Priest retain his championship, the North American Championship, against Johnny Gargano. This was pretty good. It was, I mean, it wasn't a DIY death match, you know what I mean? It was...
No.
The thing is, Damian Priest is too tall to effectively work with Gargano. Because a lot of the match was Johnny dodging like clotheslines and punches, and they kept saying Johnny keeps ducking underneath, but Johnny's not ducking. Priest is too tall.
He's walking.
And you know, I don't know. It was good. I don't think it's the way I would have started the show. Probably would have started with Kushida Dream, and let this rest somewhere in the middle.
Right. I agree. Like I said, this was my lowest rated card match on the card. But that being said, B-, it was good.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
better
hate
than
to
most
say
WWE pay-per-views in general.
Yeah, I think Punishment kind of is the one that brought it down, and kind of like you said, Pasty. When you have you pointed on something that I kind of generalized in my notes, but you hit a specific thing, so I'm going to talk about it. So when you have somebody as tall as Punishment or Damien in the ring, and then you got Johnny Gargano, who's a smaller feller, when you're just sticking your arm out and he's basically running under and has to duck just to duck, that's not right. You as the taller person has to lower yourself. You have to be the one who's putting the effort in. Johnny Gargano can't run against the ropes and jump to fucking duck under your clothesline.
And as a champion, by the third time, you should probably swing lower in general just to finally be done running back and forth, right?
Yeah, just to look like you're competent. So
yeah,
I would give it to the fact that Punishment doesn't quite have the experience that Gargano has, but that's fine also because he's still an amazing athlete. Hard hitting, hard fought, lots of reversals, a lot of counters, a lot of false finishes. It seemed like paint by numbers. Like they did everything I wanted in an opening match, but most of it just seemed missing a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Triple H has a takeover checkbox list, and he had to make sure that this hit as many of those notes as possible, probably to make up for NXT Takeover 30.
I would hope so. I hope they're thinking about that. Honestly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. B-. I liked it, but should have been better. Then we had Kushida, who defeated Velveteen Dream by submission